Hello, my name's Rob Edwards, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today we're continuing the celebration of the launch of my book, and sort of coupling that with a look at Marvel's new Multiverse role-playing game. This has just released its playtest rules a couple of weeks ago, and I thought I would take a look at how it looks in Roll20, because that's how I chose to buy it, and also a quick overview of how the system works, and a look at character creation. And because I want to do this in conjunction with celebrating my book, I thought I might have a go at trying to create one of the characters from my book using the Multiverse role-playing system. Let's have a look. So, this is the Multiverse role-playing system playtest rulebook within Roll20. Sets you back, I think, $10 if I remember correctly. It's not a bad price. You get a reasonable amount of content for it. Basic rules, including character creation rules, although the character creation rules are kind of limited to the rules that would be needed to craft, well, these characters here. So we have got stat blocks for Iron Man, Spider-Man, Storm, and all the rest of the people you can see there. And enough powers and abilities and backgrounds and stuff like that that you can create characters who have similar abilities. But you can mix and match and make your own character with them. It's quite nice. Let's take a look at one of the character sheets first of all. This is the Peter Parker Spider-Man character sheet. The basic principle here, the basic mechanic here is roll 3d6 and add a modifier. And the modifier for that is the final action modifier relating to each of these 7 stats. There are a couple of really cute things about this system, and I'm not entirely sure that I approve of cute in my role-playing games. Here's the first of those. The 6 attributes, I lied. The 6 attributes are might, agility, resilience, vigilance, ego, and logic. Names chosen because it's an acronym for Marvel, M-A-R-V-E-L. I think basically they've selected words which kind of do the job they're looking for, but they're not the most intuitive words because they really wanted to make their acronym work, which is, it's not wrong, the game system works fine, I just not the most approachable way they could have done this. The basic idea, if I wanted to make an agility check for Spider-Man here, unsurprisingly his best stat of them for his action modifiers anyway, I would click on that. This is something again in the cuteness of the Marvel Multiverse role-playing game. Most games that use this idea of roll and aim for a target number would of course refer to this as a difficulty class, or sometimes a difficulty number, but a difficulty class would normally be the abbreviation. The only problem with that for this game system, of course, is the common abbreviation for that is DC, which I suspect Marvel did not want to have plastered all over its game. And as a result, the difficulty class is not called difficulty class, it is called target number and is abbreviated to TN. I'm not going to go into what the different target numbers are, but there is a table which tells you, this is an easy one, that's a difficult one, and so forth. Let's go for something, let's go for a 30, just as an example. So submit that, and it will roll that result for me. And as you can see there, all it's doing is adding up the dice rolls of 3d6, adding them to my 14, getting a 28 versus the 30 that I told it was the TN, the target number. You'll notice that the 3 dice here are 2 different colours. And that's because the middle dice, they call it the Marvel dice, I think, basically, if you roll a 1 on that, it actually flips it around and counts it as a 6. And special effects can happen as a result of that. That is another example of the cuteness in the system, because the best result you can get in the Marvel role-playing game is 616, which is the same as the number for the Marvel Universe. Marvel has a multiverse of different universes, and the main Marvel Universe is Universe 616, because it doesn't really matter, but that was the address of Marvel's head office back in the day. So 616 is the best result you can get, but otherwise you're looking for a high number. So the second best result you can get is 656, and so forth. So, I mean, the fundamentals are there. The fundamentals are simple. It's roll some combination of dice, add your modifier, and aim for a target number. And fundamentally, that's a fine system. There is some cuteness I don't like, but there's nothing really wrong with it. One thing they have done, which is quite neat, is that you can have troubles, or you can have edges, which means that after you've made your first attempt to roll, you can have another go at it. So if I've got one edge, I can re-roll that dice. I'm not sure there's an easy way of doing that in the interface for Roll20, so that I can change that result, potentially making it better. And edges and troubles interact with each other, so you can have 3 edges and 2 troubles and sort of cancel each other out and end up with, I've forgotten the example I used there, possibly 1 edge. So you can make changes for that. So you do have a little bit of influence, and you should. One of the things you've got to be really careful of with a superhero game is you don't want people to be failing the trivial stuff. You want people to be succeeding. These are superheroes, after all. The other thing I want to say about the character sheet, just while we're here, is I think it's a little bit busy. I play a lot of D&D on Roll20, and things like the history and the bio, that would all live on a second page of the character sheet in Roll20 for D&D, and I actually think that's a better way to go. All of these words here, I mean, great. Useful to have as background for Spider-Man, assume you don't already know it. And if you need to know that Spider-Man is 5'10" and weighs 170 pounds, that information is there as well. But I don't know, I think some of this information could be decanted onto a second page. Also interesting to note, just while we're on here, I don't know if you can see this on my screen there, but Spider-Man here is not listed having any equipment, which seems a bit strange given that he has web shooters at the very least, and other bits and pieces as well, that he's spider tracers and the belt buckle with a sort of spider face flashlight he used to have. Does he still use that? I haven't read a Spider-Man comic in a real long time. So I think maybe, I know that all of these things, or some of these things anyway, have been included into his power set. It'd be interesting to see, if we have a look at his web casting ability, actually web slinging ability maybe, interesting. So it's marked it here, just tells you the effect. The character gains the swing line movement mode with a speed equal to triple their running speed, so they can swing around as much as they like. But there's no indication there that he has to have web fluid slotted into his web shooters for that to work. So I do wonder whether this is just an artifact of the playtest rules, or whether this will be manifested differently when we go live with the full thing. Interesting. Just to give you an idea here, Spider-Man is rank 10. That is quite a strong sort of mid-level hero. But we're not limited just rank 10 in this. We also have Thor. Just thought I'd bring up Thor here, who is rank 20, and his stat blocks are significantly better. Interesting that it results in things like Thor being more agile than Spider-Man. Thor has an agility of 16 rather than Spider-Man's 14. That feels wrong to me. But again, it's just the way the system works. So what all do you get for your money, for your mighty $10? Well as the basic game rules, you do get a basic adventure. I'm not going to show it to you because it's possible you're not going to be a GM for this system. You're interested in seeing what it would be like to play it. And you do have a very, very basic, I think one of the weakest parts of this playtest material is essentially you get 2 fights and 1 location, more or less. That is pretty much the plot of the adventure. for what it is. But you do get it, and it is quite nice. And you do get lots of nice artwork. Here's some artwork for Storm. Thought we'd enjoy that. I think it's quite cool, actually. If you're new to Roll20, there is a rather neat little guide to the basics of Roll20. If you didn't know that you can hold down the Alt key and double-click on a token to open the character sheet. There we go. It does it for us. That's quite nice. It tells us about it. And one thing which I think is quite groovy is if I just zoom in on our Captain America here, all of the tokens that they've provided for the heroes that you've got, we'll have a look at who they are in a second, are set up as rollable tables. So if you don't like that version of the Captain America, you can choose different sides. So if you'd rather have that one as your Captain America token, you can do. I think there seems to be about 4 or 5 different tokens for each of the heroes that they supply. That's kind of groovy. As for which heroes they supply, scrolling too far down so you don't see the NPCs, but you do get Black Panther, Captain America, Captain Marvel, Groot, you can see them on the screen, I don't want to read them to you, but Captain America, Captain Marvel, Groot, Iron Man, Rocket Raccoon, 2 different Spiders-Men, Storm, Thor, and Wolverine. Stat blocks for all of those. So if you want to try out playing with established characters, you can create some X-Men team, you can create some Avengers teams, you can do a small Guardians team, so that there's some variety there you can play around with, which is quite nice too. As I say, I haven't played the game yet. First impressions, it is fine. It is solid. I don't think there's anything particularly immediately obviously wrong with the system, but I think it is a little bit hampered by its need to feel it needs to be cute about some of the things it does. The stat block be spelling out Marvel, the lack of DC as a target number, and such things, and the 616 dice mechanic is, it's amusing for like 30 seconds. I think it might actually be easier to get used to Marvel's new system using Roll20, because one of the things it will do for you is help you work out what those dice rolls actually mean. So I'm just going to roll a couple of times here and see if I can get some more interesting results. Let's make it a trivial difficulty class. Target number. So there we go. There we have a success on his resilience check. So there we go. That's the result I was hoping we'd get to see here. This copes with the fact that when you roll a 1, it's treated as a 6, becomes a Marvel success, or becomes a fantastic success, and that means it's success plus. And narratively, you can use that as a games master to give a little bit of oomph to that. And again, you can get input from your players as well to make it not just a hit, but an amazing hit. Let's go back to our Spider-Man character sheet and have a quick look at what else is involved in it. Because I had a quick look at the basic numbers in the middle of the screen there, but I think it's probably worth just mentioning a couple of other things. We can see he has an archetype, he's a polymath, he's good at lots of different things. We've got some health stats, which are basically hit points. Focus stats, I think are sort of mental hit points as far as I can tell. Karma lets you manipulate troubles and edges a little bit. And we've got our damage and initiative scores there. All the stuff you'd expect. His movement speeds are there as well. Further down the page, you will see he has different traits. So he is weird. So there's something weird about them that causes people to have strong reactions to them, both positive and negative. There we go. So traits, interestingly, can be positive or negative or both. And then further down, we have his powers as well. The powers are based on the origin that he has. So the fact that he's got a weird science origin makes it more likely that he has certain powers than others. And some of his traits also come from his occupation. So let's finish up by having a quick look at the basics of character creation. I'm not going to complete this character in its entirety. Just want to show you some of the options that we have to think about, some of the things that we need to do to create a character. And as my example character, I'm going to use Gray from my series of novels, The Justice Academy. Gray is a normal teenager, more or less, but he's perhaps a little bit better at everything. He's a con man. He's self-trained at parkour. So he's got a lot going for him, but he's not like super powered. So we're going to bear that in mind. And he is studying at the Justice Academy at the start of these books. So the first thing we have to do is choose an archetype for him. And our options here, I think basically the one which jumps out to me as being the best match for Gray is probably Polymath. Polymath, he's good at lots of different things, but not really amazing at anything. That sounds like Gray to me. We also need to choose his rank. He's not going to be at the level of Spider-Man, rank 10, but nor is he just a regular human. At the start of the books, he's already quite competent. I'm going to go with rank 5. I don't really know at this point whether that is a suitable level, but that's where I'm going for with him. The next step is choosing some of his background stuff. So let's scroll down to his bio and choose his origin. The origins available in the playtest version are quite limited. It does say that there will be multiple other versions as well. Again, best match I have for Gray in this slot is special training. And if we have a look at special training, that's going to give us an example trait that they get, determination, and some example characters. So I'm going to, in his traits, add determination, and then I'm going to want to know later what that does. So I'm going to look that up. I'm not going to, well, in fact, I can just copy and paste that. So there you go, he's got determination because of his origin. Likewise, what's his profession? Well, I've had a look at this. Again, limited choices right now. Most of these are not true. He could possibly be considered a criminal. I mean, he certainly is. But having a look at that, he seems to get black market access, criminal connections. That doesn't really describe Gray at the start of the book, I don't think. So I think I'm actually going to go with the profession student, as he started at the Justice Academy. And that gives him some traits. Again, I'm not going to make you watch me copy those out. Join me in a second when I've done some typing on his traits list. You rejoin me sometime later. Honestly, it wasn't a very interesting thing to watch. Well, I filled in a load of details on here. So let me just sum up. From his archetype, he got determination. From his origin, he got mentor, quick learner, and obligation school. And at rank 5, you get 2 extras of your choice. And I went for free running and secret energy. Both reflect the Gray as we meet him at the start of the books. Also at rank 5, I have 18 points to split between my 6 basic attributes. And by default, you can't put any of these higher than a base of 4. But each archetype is allowed 2 attributes which can be higher than that base. And for a polymath, I get to choose which 2 those are. For other archetypes, you are just told what they are. And then these numbers, the archetype action modifier and the archetype defense modifier, come from this table. Oops. From this table. And I will be honest, it took me a good amount of time to work out what this table actually meant and what the information in it was showing me. And I'm still not 100% sure I'm right, but I think what it's saying is that at rank 5, my action modifier is +4 and my defense score is 15. And because I'm a polymath, that's true across the board. Again, for the different archetypes, those may be higher or lower depending on the type of character I am. I would imagine a bruiser might well have higher resilience and might modifiers, for example. Also, we have another table here which tells me about my damage and health and focus, which I've also included up here at the top of the character sheet. So we're getting quite close to this character being complete, as far as I can tell. The thing which is still missing, I mean, I've got all the background stuff that I need to fill in, like history and personality, names and all that good stuff. That will come. I will fill that in later. I'm not going to sit here and type for you today. But if you want to know more about Gray's background, then don't forget to pick up my book, The Ascension Machine. Not in the Marvel Universe. But the next thing I want to have a look at is powers. And the way that powers works is that as a rank 5 character, I get 5 powers which come from, or can be selected from, 2 power sets of my choice. And if I have a look down here, we can see the power sets and some utility powers. These utility powers don't belong in a power set. You can just take them anyway. If I want to choose a power which is outside of my selection of 2 power sets, then I need to have the trait to reflect that, but I'm keeping things simple in this example here. The 2 power sets I'm interested in, I think, for Gray are probably martial arts, because he is a trained combatant. Certainly as he begins, he knows a little bit about fighting. And also, I think he is smart, he is tactically clever, so I'm going to have a look at tactical mastery as well. Again, not going to sit here and analyse and choose these in front of you, but if I have a look at martial arts as an example, you can see that we have a tree of abilities, some of which can be taken for free, some of which have prerequisites, some of which have prerequisites either by rank or by additional powers. So if I want to get the counter-strike technique, I need to have the previous ability, attack stance, and I need to be rank 5. Well, I am rank 5, so if I want counter-strike technique, I need to make sure I take attack stance first. And so forth. Again, not going to spend a great deal of time with this, but let me go off and choose some powers. So right now, his character sheet is empty, and now we're about to go to, and we have a completed character. Well, not quite a completed character. I haven't worked out the initiative, and I should correct the size, if nothing else. That should be average. And I haven't got runs. There's lots of fiddly bits I have to fill in yet, but fundamentally, that is the basic character complete. And the powers I've added are inspiration, and change of plans and keep moving, which all let him react to the situation and help his friends in small ways, giving them edges or negating troubles, that kind of thing. And for his martial arts, I've given him defensive stance to let him sort of guard against people attacking him, and then the classic reverse momentum throw. So if someone does miss an attack against him while he's in his defensive stance, he can throw them over and do some damage. Quite a lot of fun. So there we go. That is the basics idea of how we create a character in the Marvel Multiverse role-playing system. Given that this is only the playtest version, and given that this is limited to the characters they have selected in terms of what powers and power sets we have, it's actually pretty flexible. I quite like it. I think there are given enough choices that a lot of the basic type of archetypes you'd want to make for superheroes are probably achievable even in this base system. As for how it plays, that remains to be seen. The act of referring back and forth to different rules within Roll20 honestly was a bit of a faff. Opening, closing windows, scrolling through, trying to find my way back to the thing I was just looking at. I suspect the more characters you create, the quicker you would get at this, and it would become less and less of a problem. But certainly on this time through, I found it a bit of a faff, if I'm honest. And not everything is presented in quite the nicest way. Again, maybe if you get this in book format, it might be a little more approachable than here on Roll20. But I think maybe there is some work still to be done on the layout of this. And it wouldn't surprise me to find out there was more context and instruction to come when the real book does finally arrive. I'm really interested in having a game of Marvel Multiverse at some point, and I might try and press gang a few of my friends into trying it out, possibly even here on YouTube, but in the first instance, just trying it out and seeing how it goes. I hope that was interesting for you. If you are interested in more of this, Marvel Multiverse role-playing game is available from the marketplace on Roll20 right now, and it's only $10. It is worth a punt, and have a look at it yourself. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that, and I will catch you next time. Cheers.